Fuzzy Man? I am back. I decided I wanted to do some Mechanicus since I haven't done them this edition. I still have the models that I have from the very first Kill Team kit, starter kit from a long time ago. I have some of the melee units to potentially help, later because, I'm not 100% sure how these guys are going to do. And I don't know if they're necessarily kitted out the way I would want them kitted out. But they're a kill team. I can actually make an official kill team, so that's nice. And then I brought Necrons because what's the more appropriate than Necrons versus Adeptus Mechanicus? Well, they awaken the Death Spirits. It's just the perfect combination of, robot and robot. So we got the field set up. Oh yeah, and I wanted to do trenches since I haven't used those either. It's a lot of stuff. It's just realizing with the trenches, this is a lot of light, here, this is probably all classified as light terrain. Granted, this is heavy terrain. I just don't know if maybe this part is heavy terrain, right here. The front of the trenches. And that's the part, and that just occurred to me, that maybe that would be classified as heavy. It's not necessarily a bad idea. The thickness is thicker on that side than the back side. So maybe I should classify that as heavy? I don't know. Well, low walls are classified as light and traversable, so this would probably be classified as light and traversable. I'm going to go with light and traversable. But obviously this has got some heavy with some light and traversable vantage point, so the building, the center. Anyway, time to do a roll off to see who gets what side. Necrons get to choose. They're... Oh, right. That's actually deciding if they're attacker or defender, isn't it? And the defender would get to choose their zone. The Necrons will choose themselves a defender and choose this drop zone, which means the attackers are Mechanicus, and they get this side. We have the kill team selected, we have the attack off selected, we have equipment selected. Barricades, right, that's a thing. Starting with the defender. I know I could probably do a better accurate. You know what, let's do a better accurate. Because I didn't realize I was going to need that. Should more appropriately, let's go like this. Yeah. That point's pointing to it. And that point's pointing to it. That's the defender's zone. Attacker zone. Alright. Defenders are like in this area. They're gonna set up one here. So now they can have someone counter in the back. There's not a lot of line of sight blocks. And you can also do up to here away from it. So they'll put one here. There we are. Also for makes the Necrons kind of realize they can also do something similar. Something like this. And they will also do something similar, something in the center. Yeah, like that. And now defenders get to set up all their operatives. Is that correct? Yes. Alright, gotta mark the Necron leader again. You. They're gonna have someone here. I love the engage order. I mean, he's got a lot of line of sight. It's really more of if they have cover orders, they're gonna be, you know, that's where things can be really useful. We'll get Necron Warrior here. Let's see here. 1, 2. About all it's going to be able to have. Going to kind of recheck the mission to see. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, that's about right. Cool. So it just seemed really close. On the book, they look far apart, but no, it's about right. Alright, yeah. These are worth more points, more uplinks have been removed. So it's really, if he gets there, he could probably start denying. Does he want to be shooting? In all honesty, the Necrons think they could take a few hits. So he'll be like that. The real reason is because most of the Mechanicus' weapons are heavy. He has the ability to just be kind of like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do as much as you would like to do. Actually, yeah, no, that's still kind of good for conceal, since he's at least concealed like that. Get some engaged warriors heading over this way. We'll have another warrior over here with an engage order. Mostly engaged because that's for visibility kind of things. Like, they'll mostly be able to just see things and they can go after them. accidentally step over my own troops, so I'm kind of already Congo lining it into the terrain. We'll just go there with an engage order. Now we'll remove these two because I'll probably need more tokens. Because now the Mechanicus put him with a conceal. Here with conceal. Right, like this. Can you actually deploy someone in there? No, you can't deploy someone in there just yet. They can put someone here, plasma here with conceal. Here with conceal. You know what? Put the marker like that. Leader here. Conceal. Someone here with conceal. Conceal. Nope, can't go there. Go right here. And we'll all have a conceal. Just want to verify something since he's not like within the terrain, but if you're within concealed behind an ally, does that count? Yep, that counts. Yep. You can hide behind your friends. Okay. Now that we move on to the scouting phase. Oh yeah. Take these markers back. Switch to the scouting phase. All right. So in this case, Necrons will choose Recon because they want a dash. They don't really need to change orders or to add more barricades. While with the Mechanicus, they actually will select Infiltrate so they can switch someone's orders. As they clearly have everyone concealed, they could potentially switch someone to an Engage order very late in the game. So they're going to dash this guy. Well, that's a nice, good dash. They already got someone there. And because of that, these guys get to choose the initiative. So they're going to select themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, yeah, they'll still be able to have him go last, right? It'll be like That guy, 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 him. Okay. Yep. And they're just verifying if they did, after enough altering back and forth, they might be able to get him to go very, very, very last, even if they go first. Well, I mean, do they really want to go first? It's not like that will really help them get onto any objectives or shoot first. Well, yeah, no, they're actually... They're going to let the Necrons have the initiative. The real reason is that means when they roll off later, if there's a tie, they could potentially get the initiative in the face that they do want it. They don't really want it this turn. But later turns, they definitely want it. Now, before operatives go, I think ploys first and then I reveal attack ops. Now that I think about it. Since ploys, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter when I'm playing by myself. Yep, it's the ploys then target reveal stuffs. Alright, well, ploys. Let's see here, Mechanicus, what do you got for a strategic ploy? Gosh, every one of those that are ploys, it's like you get a benefit and a negative impact if you decide to do that. Like, I could make it so they can, move a little extra, but I would have to reroll all my successful saves if I get defense dice, and it's like, that's, ugh. Yeah, a lot of these ploys kind of suck. Even tactical ploys. Alright, oof. And Necrons, right. Well, no, that's tactical. They're strategic. And that's if they're within hexagon, pentagon. Not happening. That's a death mark. Okay, that's not really useful in this particular case. Where it's like implaceable march. You can add circle to its movement. That's great. But it wouldn't be able to do a dash. Because, in all honesty, if it moves, doesn't move, and then a dash, that's all it needs to do to... that it'll be able to go further than anything else. Because that would be useful if it had something to shoot. But they don't. So... Yep. Just verifying that they have 2 action points and a group activation of 1, which now I realize I don't even know if these guys have what these guys' group activation is. Still a group activation of 1 and 2 action points. Okay. Everything's normal. Alrighty, let's... Oh, yeah. And it's 1 action point on the rules for the mission of things, correct? Yes. Oh. You have to be within 1 of this. It just says within the marker, so I'm going to count the edge of the marker as part of the within. Alright, they don't say them all when you're measuring from a marker, you measure only from the center. Let me double check on that. Okay, it sounds like you measure from the center. Just as out of curiosity. You basically have to be on top of this particular marker in that case to do that kind of action. Alright, let's move this guy. He'll activate. Go 1, 2, that's 1 circle. It's part of his other circle. And then for his second action, he'll disconnect the firewall. Yeah, he's just kind of he's trying not to be in the way of people. Okay, he has to be a little bit closer. There he goes. Now, that was his final movement there. So that was his one action there. Second action point is there, and remove the marker from the field. Boop. And every time you do that, that's a victory point. So, boop, victory point already. Necrons are on the board for scoring. Alright, and now these guys can go. And they at least can move 3 circle. I did say it's traversable. So it reduced by 1 circle. 1, 2, and he's just gonna stay there. He's got plenty of ability to shoot on 1, since Necrons will have to actually hold that one from a range of circle from the center. So the only way to hold this is out in the open. Unlike this one where you can actually have part of it. But he knows as soon as he steps out later, the Necrons are coming for him. Well, let's select the next Necron, who's going to go 1, 2, and then dash. And this guy, it's 1 circle. 2 circle, and then he'll just move a little bit like that, and that's his 3rd circle, and he's good. He didn't jump over terrain, he actually moved, just walked right on top, so he's good. Back to the Necrons. One circle, 2 circle, dash. So like if we get shot, whatever. Oh, right. I still had to do tactical ploys. Not the actual real tac ops. Okay. The Mechanicus would reveal triangulate because that way they can start triangulating. It's an action point to perform it on a kill zone edge. Just double check for the rules. Is it the big wide edge? No, the short edge is their edge, so they can triangulate this edge. So they could pretend, and then they just need to get over there, and they can triangulate that one, and they'll get 1 victory point. So they got that. They're going to hold on to one of the tactical reveals. And this is when a particular condition is met. As for the Necrons, action needs to be met, action needs to be met. This has to be revealed at the very first one, so they kind of oopsed on that one. Challenge. They're going to do a challenge with this Necron Warrior because his gun is different than the others, so it's a little bit easier to keep an eye on that. And he'll challenge this guy. Just because that's a little bit... he doesn't want to challenge Plasma, even though he wants it, because
that means if he goes, hey, I'll target Plaza, Plaza's just gonna hide it's like, oh, it's supposed to maybe make him think twice about peering, but actually that makes it so Plasma realizes none of these guys would attack him, so he can get a little bit more aggressive. But Arc Rifle, he's a little more okay with that being a little aggressive because it's just if Plasma shoots him, then he's screwed. But that's about it. So the challenge is for him. Alright, back at it. Necrons have gone 3 models, so back to these guys. This guy does have an Omnispex because I decided to give him as an equipment because I like having things, what you see is what you get as best I can. Okay, so you can actually make it where someone's not obscured. Which is good for the heavy terrain. But if they're in light cover, it doesn't really matter as much. So he's gonna 1, 2, 3. Yes. If he decides to dash, how tall is this? Actually, exactly it's circle. So if he dashes, he'd be able to go. He wouldn't be able to get his full base on there. So he'll dash just to be more squished against this thing. So next time he can actually move on to here pretty nicely. So he's happy about that. The guy's concealed, so he can't be seen. So this Necron will just kind of dash to get himself more very officially covered. Make sure he has plenty of line of sight to there. How far away do you have to be to perform this action? Here. Okay. And this guy's going here and triangulating. So they've triangulated this side. Yeah, he didn't want to activate this guy and do it because this guy might want to he might be able to get that, which is at least a victory point. Now leader. Dash. He does have a conceal order, so he can't be seen at the moment. Can't be attacked, and he's pretty much there. Just the thing is, if he decides to step over this later, he's gonna have a problem. Well, if he has targets to shoot at, they can always activate the doctrine that will allow them to move farther and then shoot. So you have to be within one of the... Yeah, okay. One, two... He can't climb over that for his third one. But he can... Now that's an interesting thing. So... If he combines it with the dash, does the circle of the previous movement get consumed and then his dash would be unhindered by the traversable? I mean, I guess it's kind of like with buildings. You can use the dash to finish the climb. So in that case, I would say the dash can be used to finish the traversing of terrain. So that's how I'm going to rule that one, because it doesn't say that that his action ends with the move and then you dash. It's you can use dash to complete a climb. So why would you not be able to use dash to complete traversing? Necrons are really starting to wonder how they're going to play this out. Alright, let's... 1, 2... dash. You know, they still can converge onto 1 pretty well. And this guy has no line of sight to 1, so that actually helps him. Alright, I'll activate this guy. 1, 2, 3. And he'll just kind of dash his way to here. Still be concealed, but not, anything else. Now back to Necrons. Kind of go that. And that. Okay, we'll just kind of go like that with markers. So he's dashing his way into their spot. All right. 1, 2, 3. Kind of dash. He'll be just kind of there with him, hidden. Now Necrons. 1, 2. You'll also dash. Okay, we'll just go like that. Jeez. Gotta pile up in the trenches. Yeah, them going second actually makes it even more in their favor. So that's 1 circle. It's 2 circle. 3 circle. Dash. I have to select this guy. Oh, boys. I realized that was probably a bad move here. Let's back up his dash and dash a little bit like that. Reason being is they have to actually consider Overwatch. Because these guys, if he was right here, this guy would pass, and then after they activate another unit, Overwatch would have killed him. So they actually had to consider that. So anyway, these guys have to activate him. He has 0 targets. He doesn't know if he wants... He's just going to pass because he wants to be able to shoot someone later. Now this guy's going to go. 1, 2, so that's 1 circle. 2 circle. 3 circle. And be just enough that you can disengage this zone and get a victory point. Necrons will know now Overwatch. They're going to Overwatch with that guy because you might as well select your deadliest weapon to shoot him with. So I haven't used to have a little fun with this. Balls, a little fun of murder. For attacks, it's going to be 4s to hit because you have to subtract 1 from Overwatch or worsen it by 1. So those 2 hit. It is AP 1. So, only gets 2 defense dice, 2 4-ups. Oh, wow, okay. Blocked, yep. And that guy's armor prevails. Didn't even have to do anything, and that's that. A watch complete. And now they can switch this guy to an engage order. Let's see. You gotta find this guy on here. Oh, there he is. He's right at the front. So, I can't pronounce that, but it's unwieldy, so he can't, move and shoot. This guy's concealed, but he has full range on selecting people, since, they'll be in cover, but that's it. So, he's going to fire into this guy. It's an Immortal, and that's what he wants to do. 4 shots, 2s to hit. Is this dice going to fly in itself? I don't know. It flattened itself naturally. I didn't touch it, so there we go. Otherwise, I was going to re-roll it. I wonder how long I should allow a dice to sit like that. So, 1 miss, and he's wondering. It's AP 1, so that means he will be doing some kind of damage. But, you know what? So because of that, they're going to spend a command point to reroll that, because they haven't spent any command points, so why not? To get it to become 4 hits, that way he knows, even if the defense dice all succeed, he still gets 2 shots to go through. So 2 3-ups. Yep. So 2 of them are going to be blocked. These 2 still go through at 5 damage apiece. Huh. An Immortal has 10 wounds. So Necrons haven't spent their command point, so they'll spend it on the ploy for, what's it called? Reanimation protocols. Okay. He's got to put some kind of token for reanimation. I'm just going to kind of put it over there for now to help myself know that I have to roll for that. Interesting. So it's before the living metal. So does that mean it still gets the living metal ability as well? Because it says before resolving the living metal ability. Which means after it comes back, it should have the living metal ability. Didn't even realize that bit. Okay. Anyway, he's gone, which would end the turn. So. Oh yeah, the command. Necron spent command point. So now let's see. Any abilities? Did that trigger anything? On attack ops? Probably not. Nope. Okay. Well, I'm okay. We just start flipping everyone's tokens back up. Is this technically the ready operatives phase? Now that I see the living metals listed in the ready operatives, I think that's the very beginning. This is interesting. This is part of the turn order that in the initiative phase, before you determine initiative, this is the ready operatives phase. So this is the phase in which we roll to see if he comes back. So we roll to see if he comes back. 3-up, he's back with the same order. So he's going to be like that. He has D3 wounds. Right? And I'm pretty positive it was D3 wounds. Yeah, so that would be classified as 1 remaining. However, in the ready operative step of the turning point, this operative regains up to 2 lost wounds. So he goes only to 3 wounds in total. So, there he goes. And everyone else readies up. Any other Necron would gain wounds back, but none of them have lost wounds. Alright. Oh yeah, no one can control objectives, so no one really got points from that. So now we roll to see who has the initiative. Necrons still have it. We also go back up 1 command point. So everyone's at 3 because they only spent 1. And now we would actually go to ploys. Necrons are concerned they're still not going to be able to do much because, again, if I do the whole step and then dash, we're okay. You know, if I do the whole combined dash with their stepping, they'll be okay. Because you can't do a dash with the other... well, let's see here. If they do that march thing, this guy could actually walk onto that objective and do something about it. So, actually, yeah. Necrons will actually spend the command point for Implaceable March. They get to add circle to their move characteristics. Actually, no. I reread that. It can only perform normal move, charge, shoot, and fight actions. Does not state it can do mission actions. So if it can't do a mission action, then useless. And the other things for the Mechanicus, they're also not going to apply those because kind of useless. So now we actually go into the reveal step for ploys. That still requires something. Mechanicus will reveal Vantage. You can reveal this tack up in the reveal target step for any turning point. If a friendly operative performs the Vantage action, you score a victory point. So it's like, oh, this, that means this needs like different vantage points. Well, technically on some terrains, you can have 2 vantage points because they're, it's kind of split out. Well, these are technically 2 different vantage points. It's I would say a little cheap to be doing that, but like if I checking like examples. Oh, come on. Just as I was about to have it in the book, it suddenly decided to just flip like 10 pages. Yeah, I think that's actually with the Octarius. It even shows like an Octarius piece has different vantage points, right? Maybe? No. What was I thinking of? Yeah, no, it doesn't show that. Well, I mean, in all honesty, this can't really be like one vantage point because it's different heights here. It's 2 different parts. So it is technically 2 vantage points. It's just kind of unique for this structure. But it's the only 2 vantage points in the game, so it's just kind of silly that they would be able to... Since you get one, you can get 2 victory points, for every vantage point that you do. However, I will state this. It requires 2 action points to do the vantage thing. And you can't be within circle of an enemy. So, they have to get people up here and then just spend an entire turn just doing the vantage. It's worth it, but at this point, that means that these 2 people might be able to get up there, but they'll do absolutely nothing else on turn 3, mind you. This is turn 2. That's going to be a little rough for them. Either way, Necrons get to go first. And, oh yeah, Necrons ones are both reveals, right? Yeah, they both reveal on particular actions. Not Definitely not now. So, they're actually going to select this guy, whose first action is just going to be shoot. So, Necron Warrior with the Gauss Flares, 4 attacks, 3s to hit. Okay, 1 crit, 1 regular. Nothing's listed for their crits or anything. No pens, no nothing. So 3 4-ups. Wow, buddy. You're just going to miss all that? Oh, let's see. How much damage would that be? Oh, whew. I'll spend my command point to reroll one of these dice results. Oh my god, you get another one? Alright, they're not going to spend more command points to try to reroll more results since it's 7 damage. The guy's gone. Just enough to kill. And for a second action, he's going to start moving up. Well, Necron, these guys can go again. Well, now it's these guys' turn. He's actually going to shoot this Immortal because, he's going to try to kill that guy since no one shot at him. So 4 attacks, 2s to hit. Okay, that's a crit and 3 regulars. Into this guy. Oh, the crit automatically does 2 mortal wounds. Immortal should be 10 wounds, so he's now at 8. He gets 2 defense dice, but honestly it doesn't matter. Because that AP1, there's really not much he can do. Because yes, he made 2 saves, he blocks 2, but that's still 9 damage, which is way more than enough to kill him. Necrons will spend the command point for that again. Might as well. So he might come back. And that's both of his actions because unwieldy, so firing takes 2 actions. Necron's turn. This guy. 1. That's 1 circle. 2 circle. Doesn't really have it, so he's gonna dash, but I realize. Okay, I want to verify dash can just like other movement, can be broken up into little tiny movements. Unless it says it must be in a straight line of square. Yeah. It's the same rules as normal move, it's just up to square. So, nothing stating he can't do triangle, circle, to make sure he is on top of that objective. Alright, Mechanicus time. You realize as soon as this guy activates and goes, he's no longer classified as in cover because he's no longer within 1 inch of that guy that's blocking. Basically providing cover. So they're going to activate this guy. Go 1, 2, that's 1 circle. 2 circle to go up. 3 circle to be here. And he's just going to dash into the corner because he's currently concealed. So now he knows he's doing okay. So he's going to stay like that. Make sure you can't get shot at. That's the thing. The Immortals know they can probably shoot this guy to stop some of that maiming that's happening. They don't know if they want to try to jump over that just yet. They'll continue to push over here. And this guy will go 1, 2. Let's see here. Second action, shoot this guy. Because he can. You know, he can shoot at that guy. He's just in cover. This doesn't obscured, so 4 shots, 3's to hit. 3 hits. Guy's in cover, so he can auto put 1 defense to block, so he's allowed to do that. And he's got 2 other 4-up saves. Blocks another one. He would only take 3 damage, but he'll also command a command point to reroll that. Because they don't want him to get chipped to death by everything else. So, 3 successes against 3 successes. It's nothing. He's still standing, and that guy's action is complete. Alright, let's see here. Necron, he's got, oh yeah, let's see here. Again, I want to do check drop, because this is a drop right here if this guy crosses that. But I think because it's less than circle, it's not going to change anything. Yeah. If it's less than circle, it's ignored. So he can do a drop across that just no problem. Because it's 1 circle to go up, that's his 2nd circle, that's his 3rd, and that's his dash. Conceal. Because the Necrons get far enough across they could shoot at him, but they have to get like way over here to shoot at him to not have his base getting crossed by that. But they don't have to fully care because they'll have to spend an entire next turn. But that's still, they can still get 2 victory points from these guys, so that's kind of important. So for the Necrons, this guy kind of wants to move forward. So he's gonna there and then dash to help him complete his move. They had to remove a circle from there, so that means their movement became like 1 circle. But yeah, so far this is still blocking, so even next turn he has to move there and shoot him before he activates and just does his thing. So they don't think they can deny that, but they can at least kind of deny Mechanicus from even taking that one. Now Mechanicus' turn. This guy's going to switch to an engage order. Go 1 triangle, 2 triangle for 1 circle. 2nd circle. Oh. Right. No, he wasn't going to activate. He wasn't going to switch to an activation thing. Because his damn weapon is heavy. And there's... Let's see here. Well, okay, no, never mind. He can go there. So you had to do... He could do a dash and then fire. It only says with the heavy that you cannot do a charge, fall back, or normal move in the same activation which you shoot your weapon. You can dash, but that's the thing with these galvanic rifles. He has to dash and shoot. He can't do anything else. It's just kind of shitty, especially because they're not necessarily the strongest weapon. So he's gonna fire into that guy. 4 shots, 3's to hit. Two hits. 3 defense dice. Yeah, I mean, no AP unless I got a crit. Failed it. Blocks with 2. Even if this Necron had failed to block everything, it would have only taken 6 damage, which, you know, is significant, but still, it has to fail everything. That its minimum damage is still 3. It's like, that's not necessarily great for a weapon that says heavy. So, he's gone. I'm just realizing this guy can now, like, shoot him. Yeah, as soon as he went to engage order, it didn't matter if he was full in cover or not. No, he gets cover from crossing base for that guy anyway, so whatever. He's in cover, at least. This guy's just going to shoot at him and just go, cover? I don't care. So, 4 attacks. 3s to hit. Ooh, that's a crit and 3 regulars. I think this guy's going to die. It's AP1 too, so yeah, I think this guy's going to die. Hey, he can block the crit. He's not going to spend command point to... Well, let's see here. Yeah, these 2 are 8 alone. And even if he tries to block this, he's still going to die. Just because 2 of them was all I was needed to go beyond his health. So, he's dead. Gone. Actually, that makes it... Oh, yeah, they're still thinking about some things. Alright, they're going to activate this guy, whose first action will be to activate that. Actually, does he want to switch to engage order? Screw it. He will switch to an engage order and obviously activate that, which gets a victory point. And then for his second action, he's actually going to shoot at this guy, because if he can kill that guy, Necrons have already done the command deploy to reanimate for that guy. So 4 attacks, 3s to hit. And that's caught, so reroll. 2 hits. They'll spend command point to reroll one of these because they want to really guarantee his death. Well, okay. 2 hits, 3 defense dice. I'm pretty sure he's okay. Or he can roll 2 1s. I mean, honestly, the only way they're going to keep him alive is by spending 2 command points to reroll both of these. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea, because it denies a death. So they'll do that. They'll spend all their command points that they have to reroll these 2. Honestly, they should have spent 1 command point, rerolled 1, and then, think about it, then rerolled the other. But whatever. They spent their command points, and he's still he's still dead. So at least they were able to kill 1 of them. So, not bad, little dude. Not bad. Necrons. They really don't know if they want to activate him to do anything. Yeah, they'll switch him to an engage order. And he'll just try to melt that dude. He's the leader, so it's 4 attacks. 2s to hit. Oh, 2 crits. 2 regulars. Guy's got 2 defense dice. Hey, he can block a crit. And that's, 8 plus 5 is 13 damage, so he's very dead. And then for a second action, he's going to pass. Now back to these guys. It's going to start turning to Overwatch very soon for the Necrons. Let's see here. Alright, let's switch to an engage order. I think he can get that melee distance. That's 1 circle, 2 circle, 3 circle, 4. Yeah, he's in charge distance. So second action is fight. You're actually gonna have to find the leader here. Ooh, okay. He's got his Arc Maul. 4 attacks, 4 is to hit. Okay, he's got a crit, regular, and 1 regular. And now the bayonet from the Necron Warrior. 3 attacks, 3's to hit. Also 1 crit. Well, he's gonna use this crit to parry that crit. Which is kind of a shame because stun, he has the ability to stun, but if he applies it, it only discards a normal hit. There was no normal. But he'll apply a regular hit, which is still 4 damage. So this Necron has 5 wounds for now. Yeah, so that's happened. Now back to the Necrons, who now have this guy. He's actually going to switch to a conceal order. And actually pass for his actions. This way, he can activate later to try to kill this guy. Because of that, they're actually going to activate this guy now and switch him to an engage order. Due to the fact that they know if any of these guys overwatch him and kill him, that denies Necron's victory point. So, using that to his advantage. Arc Rifle. So, 4 attacks, 3's to hit. Who's he going to choose? He's going to choose the guy on the objective, obviously. So, 4 attacks, 3's to hit. Or, just get 2 crits in a regular. It's AP1, so he's only got 2 defense dice. Block 1 of the crits. Let's see here. A warrior has 9 health, and that's 9 damage exactly, so he's dead. So that guy died. And then for second action, he's going to pass. And now, Necrons. Well, because they can overwatch, he's going to overwatch that guy. Because because he's a leader and he's only worsened it by 1, he's still got 3's to hit. So, ooh, that's only 2 regular hits. AP1, but he's going to since he's in cover, he's going to auto defend 1. So he's going to live no matter what. Fail the other one, so he just blocks 1 and takes 4 damage. Ooh. He's on 3 wounds, doesn't it? Yeah. So that still hurt significantly. So yeah, he is overwatched. These 2 have not overwatched. He hasn't overwatched. And then this guy goes like this and that. That's 1 circle, 2 circle, 3 circle, and then for a dash, 1. Yeah. So he's definitely staying concealed because he at least holds the objective, and he's in cover. So at least is doing a good job there. He can actually get some victory points, potentially. And back to Necron's turn. They can't overwatch at the moment. Plasma will switch to an engage order. Oh yeah, he's the last one to go, so he doesn't have to worry about being overwatched. And for his first action, he's just going to shoot right into that guy. Does he want to overcharge? Let's see here. Nah, he doesn't need to overcharge. So he's going to just do a regular shot. 4 attacks, 3s to hit. Woo! It's a good thing he did that. He would have been getting really messed up by his own shots. Still AP1 though, so you know. Hey, this guy failed both dice, so he still takes 5 damage, which puts him at 4. So not a bad round. At the end of this, again, I need to really double check this for execution. Did this guy get classified as incapacitated? He doesn't get revived until the next turn. So at this point, is he still incapacitated at this point? Because if so, then that means they would have an exact number of incapacitated on both sides. I'm still ruling it as he is incapacitated because he's not alive. He's definitely not alive. He reanimates next turn. It's not now. So they can't reveal that. Challenge still hasn't happened. Triangulate and Vantage still haven't even completed. They can't even triangulate that side yet. They haven't gotten any victory point on that. They haven't gotten any other victory points on anything else. So we go on to... victory points now for actually objectives. This objective is not held by anyone. This one's actually held by them. Only 1 data link is missing. They go to 3 victory points. And now that we're on the next turn 3, they're ready operatives. We roll to see if he comes back. He does. Now, D3 wounds. 2 wounds. But again, you gain 2... Right, it's 2 wounds for living metal? Yeah, so now he's at 4. This guy goes up to 7. This guy goes up to 6. You know, living metal's useful. Okay. Now we're going to have to see who has the initiative. Oh, everyone goes up 1 command point, 1 command point. It's tie, so that means it goes to Mechanicus. Nothing else gets revealed, right? Yep, everything else is now on certain actions have to be met for it to reveal. No one's going to use any of the ploys because everything else is more useful. So starting with Mechanicus. They're actually going to have this guy fire his Plasma Cavalier into this guy. He's still not going to supercharge, so 3 shots. No, 4 attacks, 3s to hit. Oh, right, does he want to do that? Yeah, because they can't do that guy. Actually, correction. They should have this guy go first because he's pretty messed up. They're actually not going to bother with him going first. Well, no, they are. He's going to shoot into this guy. He's just going to shoot that guy for them. Since, you know, he has the shot on that guy. So 4 shots. It's going to be 3s to hit because he's wounded. And he knows he could shoot that guy, but It's more if he wants to clear people who can get on an objective. So he's helping them clear an objective. Because they at least have this one. For now. 4 shots, 3s to hit. Or, he just gets a crit and 3 regulars. The crit automatically does 2 mortal wounds. It's AP 1, so... Hey, he blocks 1, blocks the crit. But he's going to take a lot right there and die. He has to wonder, does he want to spend... No, he's not going to spend their one and only command point for living metal or reanimation protocols. So he's fired. This guy's going to take his opportunity to activate and shoot into this guy, since he needs to make sure this guy dies. 4 attacks, 3s to hit. 2 crits. No, 3s to hit, and 2 regular. That's what he wanted. No AP, so this guy's got 3 defense dice. So, oh boys. Even if he blocks... That's the thing. 2 crits is enough. With 3 defense dice, with those 2 crits, that was all that he was going to do, because he can either... He has to be able to manage to roll one of these into a success. Into a crit, basically into a... he needs to try to roll that 6. So he will spend a command point, try to roll that 6, because if he succeeds, he can deny a victory point right here. And instead he rolls a 1. But, hey, he was trying to roll, because no matter what, he was taking too much damage. He was going to die. And that means the challenge, they get 1 victory point, but it was still a success. And for a second action, he's going to move up. Try to get closer. He doesn't have to worry about that anymore. As this guy has an engage order, he knows he needs to activate or he will be killed. So he will activate. And he'll shoot the guy who can still move to the objective. So he's going to shoot at that guy. He will not supercharge. So 4 attacks, 3s to hit on the AP 1. But that's a lot of hits, so he at least knows the guy's going to be taking some damage. 2 3-ups. Failed 1. So he'll be able to block that. They will spend a command point, though, to reroll this. And not succeed. The reason being that they wanted to reroll that is because they knew they could get into an objective at the end of the battle. And this is worth 2 victory points, so it would have been very worth the victory, the command point. But he's dead. And now for this guy's second action. He's actually going to get all the way over here to avoid this guy's shot. Actually, I have to see if this guy can't see him. No, he'll just pivot like that. Just a little more. And now this guy can't see him. And his hand was poking through a window perfectly. So once he's like that with his positioning, he's good. And that will end his action there. So this guy can't see him. And that pisses them off. You know what? They're actually going to activate this guy, and he's going to fight him. So, Necron Warrior has 3 attacks, 3's to hit, and melee. Ooh, he's got 3 nice hits. He's got 4 attacks, 4's to hit with his Arc Maul. 2 hits. Let's see here. He's going to apply 1 parry to prevent the guy from really doing much. He realizes if he doesn't parry, he's going to be in a very bad state. But if he applies a strike, he could try to get this guy in a state where he might be able to win melee. He's going to apply a parry for now. So this guy applies a strike, does 3 damage. And he has 5 wounds left. And that will end his action. They will activate this guy. He'll spend 2 action points to do Vantage Point. Or Vantage. So they score 1 victory point for him securing that Vantage Point. Oh. They had to do this in a later turning point to make him actually get that. So he's just going to stay there. But just that is interesting. They can't do 2 vantage points in the same turn. So Necrons still have the chance to kind of deny that. Necrons are actually... So he moves there and then dashes. Because now they made it where he's holding it just like that guy's holding it. He knows if he appears and tries to shoot that. So what they're going to do is actually have this guy activate, and he's going to fight for his first action. Actually, out of curiosity. Yes. He's going to fight for his first action. So 4 attacks. 2 crits, 2 regular. Akron is fighting back with his 3 attacks. 2 crits. Oh, boys. Let's see here. He's going to apply a crit. Because that brings this guy immediately down to 2 wounds. So now the Necron knows he can't parry himself to survival. So he's going to apply a crit as well to bring this guy down to 1 wound. It's just next attack kills him. And for his second attack, he's going to fire his Phosphor blast pistol at this guy. You might as well. 4 attacks. It's going to be 3's to hit because he's injured. Gets a crit and a regular, or 2 regulars. There's no special. There's no. This guy still gets 3 defense dice. The only succeeds on 2 of them, so he blocks those 2. Still 5 damage. He is the leader, so he's at 6 health, but he did some work. Let's see here. Since this guy, he's just going to shoot into him because, this guy can. He's got line of sight. He's just going to fire 4 attacks, 3's to hit. 2 hits. AP1, so this guy's got 2. Let's see here. Is he still 4-ups? Yeah, he's unfortunately still at 2 4-ups. He blocks one, but he doesn't block the other. So he dies, and the Necrons are happy about that because bum-ba-da-dum, Headhunter. Reveal this attack op when an enemy leader is incapacitated. You score a victory point. Unfortunately for them, it's not the first or second turning point, so they do not score an extra victory point. But they were able to get one at least, so he'll pass now. Interesting choices now. You know, like basically they had to decide how they with these two guys. Well, this guy actually can see this guy, so he's gonna switch to an engage order. He knows he could potentially get shot off this, which will deny them vantage if he gets shot off of that for next turn. So it's a risk, but it's a risk he knows it's worth taking. He's going to fire his galvanic rifle into that guy because that's what he has to do. 4 shots, 3s to hit. Okay. 3 hits. Not too shabby. No crits though. So defense dice of 3. 3 blocks. So he succeeds in blocking all those. He is done. It's more of what does this guy want to do? He's going to first walk up a bit, get as close as he can. And for his second action, he's actually going to shoot this guy because this guy still can, do some damage. So he's going to fire at that guy. So 4 attacks, 4s to hit because he's injured. So 2 misses. The guy's in cover. He'll auto block one of these. Can he roll success? No, he can't. So he fails. Let's see here. That's like what? 4 damage? Yep, 4 damage. Enough to kill him. And now this guy will switch to an engage order and fire into the guy in front of him. 4 attacks, 3s to hit. Oh, look at that. Pen. The reason I say that is that makes AP1. So he's doing some kind of damage to this guy. He's got 2 blocks, so he blocks 2 of them. He has 4 damage, so the guy goes down to 2 health. Doesn't really help them because now he's done. We go to end of phase things. This is the leader of it. Yeah, they're both APL2, so no one holds that objective. No one holds that objective. Still don't have any of the other attack ops. So, yeah. For Necrons, it's still 3. Both sides lost 3 operatives, so execution still doesn't happen. But now as we do ready... now it's the final turn. And as we ready up, we gain 2 health, so he's up to 4. He's up to 6. Who has the initiative could be very, very important. No, 1 victory point. No, 1 command point for each side. Necrons have the initiative. it's going to be the same dice rolls for a lot of these things. So we're going to have... Yeah, he's going to go. He's going to shoot into that guy. 4 attack. Actually, doesn't he have other... I just remembered. He's the Necron leader with a whole bunch of stuff in front of him. I didn't realize he has a save characteristic of 2. Whoops. Oh, interesting. It's 1 action point. So before he does anything, he's going to try to do Mind Shackle. So he's going to first roll D6. He rolls a 3. It's higher than the operative's APL, which it is. He's subtract 1 from its APL. That's about it, because he needed to roll... If he had rolled higher, he would have then been able to shoot at someone else kind of thing, with the Mind Shackle. Hey, it was worth checking. But he's still going to fire his 4 attacks into that guy. Because that's... Mind Shackle's 1 action point. And then the second action point is fire 4 attacks, 3s to hit because he's injured. Or, it doesn't matter because 1 crit. The guy's in cover, so... And it's 8... So he's going to have 1 defense dice as success. And then a second dice, if he rolls success, he does not. Spend a command point to re-roll that because those 2, he blocks it, and he's still on the objective. So that's blocked. He's actually going to go and switch to a conceal order and pass. And that was his 1 action. So, done. He made sure they can no longer keep shooting at him, which makes it so that way the Necrons cannot hold this unless they charge, but they can't charge at this point. So they're going to have this guy actually shoot into him because they realize... no, they're not. They realize plasma can go over and wipe them off on an objective. So... This guy can see him, so he's just going to first start just by shooting into him. 4 attacks. 3s to hit. Crit regular. The guy is next to cover, so cover lines do cross, so he does get 1 auto defense. He gets 2 more defense dice because it doesn't have any AP, so he blocks everything. But this guy will at least be holding an objective, which, again, becomes problematic because that's worth 2 points. But these guys will switch this guy to a conceal order, and he's going to do the Vantage, do his 2 action points to do the Vantage, complete that tac op, and get victory points. So he doesn't care. He's happy to at least gain them a 2-point lead, so that way if this guy gets 2 points, it doesn't matter as much. Also, they have plasma to potentially obliterate that guy. And to add insult to injury, these guys can't do anything now. They don't have any targets because he was their only target. But what they could do... And then dash. Is essentially guarantee holding that objective. They're actually going to activate this guy. He's going to switch to an engage order. And he's going to shoot into the leader because the leader has the least amount of health. So, galvanic rifle, 4 shots, 3s to hit. So, 3 hits, no pens. So the guy technically has 3 2-up saves, now that I realize that. So he blocks those two. He really doesn't care to spend a command point to roll that and to reroll that because that still puts him at 1 wound, and he knows that denies their ability to kick him off an objective. And now this guy's going to fire into him because he now has a target. He knows if he can kill this guy, he might be able to get execution. So 4 attacks, 3s to hit, 2 crits. The guy is not going to use his auto to defend because it's AP1. He needs 2 6s here. Yeah. So he realized he could put his... Actually, no. Because it's... A crit is only 5. He's actually going to auto-save one of them. Reason being is he just needs this one to be a 4 or higher for himself to live. There. With those 2, he blocks 1, takes 1 crit, and at 5 damage, he still has 2 wounds left and is still on the field. That's all he needed to do. And now this guy... It's 1 circle, 2 circle. He's denying this guy. He's not within engagement range, but he will fire his plasma. He will not overcharge because he has no rerolls. And honestly, he doesn't necessarily need to kill the guy, but he needs to make sure he doesn't overheat and kill himself. So 4 shots, 3s to hit, 3 hits. It's going to be doing some damage because AP1's still 2 defense dice. The guy rolls nothing. So that's 15 damage. He actually just kills that guy. I mean, even if the guy had rolled 1 success, it was not. He was still taking 10 damage. So he was dead. Very dead. And that ends the game. They never finished Triangulate. They never marked their target, because honestly, they'd rather just try to kill him. Necrons didn't even get Execution. Holy crap. They just got Challenge, which... Right. Right? I think so, yeah. I think I'm marked for that. Let's see here. And they cleared one thing. They got the Headhunter. They got the Challenge. I don't know why I was still holding on to the Challenge thing. I don't think they were ever holding an objective. No, they never were holding that objective. However, they are holding that objective. It's worth 1 victory point, so that's 4. But this one's worth 2, so... Mechanicus wins this game. That was actually very interesting. I think the Necrons moving still kind of... was bad for them, but honestly, that was very interesting because even though Mechanicus I thought was not going to do great because they can't really shoot with their heavy rifles, they still did great. So that was actually pretty interesting. So anyway, thank you very much for watching and have a fabulous day, everybody.